Oh, do I hate when that happens. Good morning, classroom. How are you? I am so late getting on, and now I have to speed it up to tell you the speech I just gave you, because there I was without a voice. How could I not have a voice? I'm going to tell you really quickly why I'm so late. We only have a shortened class. I had crocodile tears right before I got on. I know. I had a sad thought before I got on, and it gave me crocodile tears before I got on. It did. So we are back on track, except for the fact that we have to put an 8 here because we are on day 118. And I bet all of our early birds, they all know how to count to 118. So if you don't know how to count to 118, well, you haven't been following me, that's for sure. But we learn all kinds of things, and even though it sounds like a pretty big number, it's nothing like our deficit. What? 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 All that being said, let's get started. Today, what we are talking about is the kinds of forgetting that there is. Now, I see lots of jumping around over here with my video. So you want to take control of your, that 8's a little big, isn't it? I don't care. Of your emotions. You want to learn to regulate your emotions. So it doesn't mean stop them, although sometimes we do, or maybe even for just a period we stop them, right? So sometimes we do, but in a healthy way, what I did is I just let those crocodile tears pass. It was a thought I had to have. And it was actually, no, it was a very, very, very sad thought. It was a very sad thought. Did I tell you the thought, or was that when I was off? And plus, it's jumping around all over the place. Just a horrible, horrible connection. 17,000 dropped frames. Oh, I do have actually all my titles up there like I need to have, though. See, day 118, and these are the titles that I have for our newest set of PowerPoints for organizing our thoughts. So we're still organizing our thoughts, but what we're trying to do is we are trying to focus on what is forgetting. Why do we forget? Okay, so you can see I put together a whole bunch of new PowerPoints on forgiving. Have you ever tried to remember something, but you couldn't? Have you ever? Of course, of course. What do you think you could do to help you remember? Now I'm going to go back to this other slide right here. Have you ever tried to remember something, but you couldn't? So here in this picture, what I have here is that question mark is what I'm trying to remember. You can see I got this. This was actually on Shutterstock, but it was also someplace else. But that's Shutterstock that I got that from. So the question mark there is what I'm trying to remember. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get that memory out of my mouth, right? So when does that happen for you? When you're trying to remember something and you can't remember it, right? When does that happen? Can you think of a time where that has happened to you most often? Most often when you're trying to remember something and you can't. And it's really important that you remember. Can you think of a time? Yes, exactly. When you're being tested, I can see that jumping all over the place again. Exactly, when you're being tested. And so here are some strategies for you to be able to pull something out of your mouth when you have to, maybe not say it, but put it on paper. You have to communicate it, right? So you're trying to remember something. You know you learned it, but you can't get it out of your mind. You can't pull the idea out of your mind, right? Now, notice on this slide, what do you think that you could do to help you remember? And notice on this slide, the question mark became what? It became bigger, didn't it? So one thing that we can do to help us remember would be, some people call it meditate. Meditate on it. If you have time to think about it, meditate on it, right? Now, when I was feeling a little sad, crocodile tears, the minute I was supposed to get on here, at 8:30, I had crocodile tears because of that thought that I had in my head. That my husband, I don't know if I said it, that the thought that my husband was sick and that he would disappear from my life if he was sick so that I can continue on with my goals. I know that my husband would do that. I know he would. But it made me sad that maybe he had died in a different way, and that I wasn't there with him, or something like that. And so I didn't get on, and even now, what am I doing? I'm meditating on it. I'm thinking about it. And when I think about it, what ends up happening is I end up, the thoughts about it get bigger and bigger, just like in the picture, right? The thoughts about my husband get bigger and bigger. And then I start thinking about things that we said, right? Things that we did, the last moments I was with him, my children, what they've said, what they've done, all the things that have happened. And so that little thought bubble when I'm trying to find one piece of information out gets bigger and bigger when I meditate on it. Now, a lot of times when we're taking a test, we don't have time to meditate on it. Let me tell you a little trick, okay? Here's a little trick. If we're in school and we're taking a test, we don't have time to meditate on it, do we? Do you know what another word for meditate is? You know what let's see, I write things down. You know what another word for meditate is? Do you know? Another word for meditate is to pray. To pray. So here's your trick. So you don't have time to meditate all day on that one question. You only have, so many seconds before she gives you the next spelling word, and you forgot how to spell that word. You know what? Pray. There's your trick. There's your little trick. Say a little prayer. Say a little prayer. See if it works. I don't know. I know I spent a whole semester praying for a parking spot. Right before I got to the parking lot, I prayed and said a prayer to find a free parking spot. And I know things are weird. Meditate on it. Say a prayer. See what happens, right? We are not just about monkey brains. We're not. Okay, so that gets that area in the brain so much bigger because you've made what we call associations. That's a very big word for our early birds, associations. But we make what are called associations by thinking about different things. What's an association? Well, I'm associating my kids with my husband. I'm associating the events of his sickness, right? I'm associating the last events. I'm associating things we've said, all kinds of things. Those are associations, and that's when that area in the brain gets bigger. So what do you think you could do to help you remember? Number one, expand your knowledge. Think about it. Meditate. Pray. Say a prayer. And then the second thing that you could do is as I've said, I didn't put this up there the right way. Never mind. It doesn't matter. Look at what I did. I changed it to some homework or data or whatever. So now we're not just thinking about an event, but maybe we are trying to think about an answer to a question, or we're in the classroom, right? So now we're trying to remember, as I said, in the classroom, something very specific, not just about an event, but something very specific. Well, we can use the same kinds of associations. And so what I did here was I drew these pictures, and in these pictures, I'm showing you associations. Every arrow there is a new association. So have you ever tried to remember something, but you couldn't? When something is important for you to remember, make sure you have lots of pathways. That's another word for association. You have lots of pathways to your information. Now look at, we have all kinds of arrows. And one of those arrows, let's say the answer to the question you're looking for. Well, one of those arrows is, was it in spelling? Another arrow is, what does it begin with? Another arrow might be, does it have a murmur diphthong in it? Another arrow might be, does it have a prefix? Another arrow might be, does it have a suffix? And you break down that word from all kinds of angles. We called them pathways. Who's we? I do all the work. All of it. Lighting, production, script, all of it. See, I told you she has a script. Yeah, and I also heard that you script what? Your writers script every like the what? Malfunction. You script that too? Do you script my malfunction? Don't get yourself in a tizzy. It's not a wardrobe malfunction. Although it could be. I did have one this morning. Okay, so thinking a lot about something allows you to get many different pathways to the information. The more you think about it, the more pathways that you have to that information, right? So let's say that you are trying to remember something about, let me put it on a new page. No reason not to use a new page. So I have one over here. Okay, so let's say that you are thinking about things that have to do with Martin Luther King Jr. All right? That's what you. So you know what I do, Emery? Oh my gosh, remember I told you that? Oh my gosh, I have that over here, and I still do, I bet. This was a thought bubble that we did quite a while ago in our Bookless classroom. A thought bubble, what can we learn from reconstruction? It's really hard because I put that away. I've been packing and now I'm living out of boxes. And how can I possibly clean these floors either? How can I clean these floors? I can't even move these boxes. Just letting you know. But you already know that. And so these are like the arrows that we were seeing there in the brain. All of these circles are thought bubbles that go to the one big, all of these circles are thought bubbles that go with the one big thought. All right, so we're going to do it on this. Instead of on that piece of paper. I know I had. Uh-oh. Okay. Boy, I've had that on there for a long time. It's hard to wipe this off my whiteboard. But luckily, I have whiteboard spray too. I'm so happy I have that whiteboard spray. Otherwise, I would have ruined this. Even though I'm packed up, I've got it packed up and I'm still able to get to my things. So I'm happy about that. Still a little organized, because when I get disorganized, things go crazy. As it likely does with you, which is why we are having this organization. So let's say that I want to, we're not gonna do that. Let's say not Martin Luther King. What we're going to do is we're going to say, let's say that you're going to set a goal. And the goal that you're going to set is to let's say improve your vocabulary. All right? So that's your goal, improve your vocabulary. So there's your thought bubble. All right. And here's our arrows, but our arrows here go both ways, don't they? In my picture, they only went one way because you were trying to get to the information. But here it comes and goes, doesn't it? You try and get the information in your head, called long-term memory. You get the information in your head from long-term memory, and then you do what? Put it on paper, get it in a list. Use your memory strategies, chunk the information. This is chunking. This is another example of chunking. Use our memory strategies that we've been learning in order to get your ideas organized, right? Okay, so you want to improve your vocabulary. One thing is that you could make a list of new words. Per week. So every week you're doing a list of new words. Here we have got another thought bubble, right? There's another thought bubble. Let's go ahead and get another thought bubble. What else can you do? That's not a very good marker. That's unfortunate. What else can you do? You could say the word, spell the word out loud, and say the word again 3 times every day. So once a week, you make a list of new vocabulary words. Every single day, you say those words, you spell those words, and you say those words, right? Okay. What else can you do to improve your vocabulary? You could write sentences. Now you know how to use the word. Write sentences using those words, right? You could also use the words in conversation or when talking, right? Use those words when talking. Now look at what we're doing here. In order to remember something, like these could be your spelling words every week, right? Say the word 3 times, spell it, say it, write sentences with the word in it, use the words when you're talking. All of that can help you if you have a goal to improve your grades in spelling, all right? So see what we're doing? What we're trying to do is expand all of our thoughts around an idea so that we don't forget it, or so that it's easier for us to remember. All right? A mnemonic, that's pronounced as if the M is silent. Mnemonic. A mnemonic is a trick to help you remember things. This spider diagram here is a mnemonic because it helps you remember things, all right? Another kind of mnemonic is called an acronym. An acronym is an abbreviation made using the first letter of each word. So, for example, can you name the 5 Great Lakes? Do you know what the 5 Great... Now, of course, I know what the 5 Great Lakes are because I've lived in Michigan most of my life. Can you name the 5 Great Lakes? Well, there is a mnemonic that is an acronym, HOMES. So use an acronym, for example, HOMES, to remember something important. H, Huron. O, Ontario. M, Michigan. E, Erie. S, Superior. Those are our 5 Great Lakes. Can you name the 5 Great Lakes? There we have it. I just said that. H, Huron. O, Ontario. M, Michigan. E, Erie. S, Superior. So you can use mnemonics, right? So one thing we said was meditate on it, right? Another one is to use mnemonics to help us remember something, right? And often there are ways that we can use mnemonics for our spelling, right? Breaking those words up to help us better understand them. Together, to get her. Can you do that? Together, to, T-O, get, G-E-T, her, H-E-R. Together. Look at that. I just thought of that right off the top of my head. That's a great one, isn't it? Right? Friend. Friend is a sight word. Friend. My best friend in elementary school, Terry Broner, taught me this one. Friend. It is I before E except after C. We do know that. But which is also a mnemonic to help you remember. I before E except after C, and in words that like A as in neighbor and weigh. Not that way. I weighed myself. Weigh, W-E-I-G-H, weigh. Neighbor, N-E-I. Normally it's I before E except after C. There we go. Let's see if I have a better stream now. No, orange, red, yellow. No better stream. Fry end. You want a mnemonic to remember how to spell the word friend, which is a sight word. Fry, F-R-I-N-D. Fry end. I'm repeating myself here because I've been dropped so many times. Out of this half an hour that I've spent on here, there we go again. Dropped again. Completely dropped. That I've been on here, there was probably only 15 minutes of actual tape. We shall see. So I'm going to be back here tomorrow. I know. Today was a mess. That's what happens sometimes. You want to know why? Because teachers are always doing a tap dance. We're always learning and teaching and learning and teaching and pictures and entertainment. And have you learned it yet? Here's some magic sparkles for you to learn. I need a guy. I've said that for a long time, though. Handyman around here, a sparkle guy, something to do something. Dr. Annette Feravich, I'm the teacher. Thanks for joining me, even if we were late. Thank you so much for joining me here in the classroom. This is Dr. Annette Feravich, making your mind today, your memory healthier, along with your body and your soul and your spirit and everything. So even when I start my day with crocodile tears, I can end it smiling because I'm in the classroom. And so can you. Thanks for joining me.